recent quotes have just come out by Joel Embiid that he believes that he could play like Jordan, like LeBron, like Kobe, like Shaq. But for every Shaq, there needs to be a Kobe. So the purpose of this video is trying to find Embiid his Kobe. The main reason I'm doing this is because last night, the January the 21st, 2022, Joel Embiid dropped 40 points, 13 rebounds, and 6 assists last night in a loss against the subpar Clippers B team. Those motherfuckers don't even have Paul George or Kawhi Leonard, and they beat the 76ers, who are supposedly supposed to, do well in the playoffs this year, which I don't really see it. But, hey, it'll happen. But no one on the Clippers had more than 19 points, and I think their leading scorer was Reggie Jackson, if I'm not mistaken, with that 19. But I don't really see the 76ers really progressing past this point in the process without a really solid player. Now, don't get me wrong. Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris both had pretty fine games. They both scored around 20 points, and they had a sizable lead in the third quarter, but then it just kind of, sort of fell over. And then they ended up losing by just 1 point, and it was a little bit of a heartbreaker. But, hey, if you're a 76ers fan, that's what you live with. But before we can even get into the meat and potatoes of this video, I just want to get one thing out of the way. This is assuming that Ben Simmons will never suit up for the 76ers again because of a trade, or the 76ers just hold him hostage for the next 3 years and tell him to go fuck himself and just waste his entire prime while wasting Joel Embiid's prime at the same time, which, if I'm being pretty honest, the chances of that happening are getting greater and greater with each passing day. But Ben Simmons, if you didn't know, he came down with a super, super horrible case of I'm a pussyitis right before the season, so keep him in your prayers, if you can. And let's get into the search for Joel Embiid's Kobe. Let's look inward in the 76ers organization first before actually looking across the association to find the perfect player for Joel Embiid. The player that's on the 76ers already that I like for this role, who's a young player, he's a great guard right now. He's 21, Tyrese Maxey. He averages 17, 3.5, and 4.5 this season, which, in reality, I could see in a couple years jumping up to 22 points a game. I don't know, probably same rebounding numbers at 3.5, but then maybe 6 or 7 assists a game. That's not out of the realm of possibility. He's only 21 and he's already fucking balling his ass off. It's fucking crazy. And before you 76ers fans get your panties in a twist, yeah, I understand that Tobias Harris, he's a good player, but the thing is, he's been on the team for quite a while, and if I'm being honest, 76ers have not done shit since fucking 2001, when the Lakers kind of, hey, it'll happen. But, he's also kind of included, like Tobias Harris, he's included in the Ben Simmons trade talks, so, he's probably not going to be on the team that long either. But there are 7 teams that are willing to trade for Ben Simmons, and these are probably going to be the only teams that really join the race for a fine player. It's New York, LA Lakers, Minnesota, Portland, Sacramento, Indiana, and Cleveland. But if I'm being completely honest, I only really like 3 of those destinations for players with potential to be Embiid's, Kobe. And that's the Knicks, the Lakers, and the Trailblazers. If somehow the 76ers can fleece the Knicks for a Simmons for RJ Barrett trade, the 76ers would also have to throw in maybe 3 first-rounders, because that's just RJ Barrett. I haven't exactly watched too many Knicks games, but every time I see him on Instagram or on Reddit or anything, he always seems to be having a fine night. I know he's not even the superstar of that team. Well, they don't exactly have an established superstar. They have Julius Randle, who's a good player, but I mean, like, he's kind of been, this season, you know. I know the Knicks fans do not like him this year, but hey, that'll happen. But yeah, I don't. This is probably the least likely to happen, but at the same time, this is probably going to be the one that I would be the most excited to see out of these three trades. So yeah. The next team would be the Lakers, and this deal would probably be a Russell Westbrook and Taylor Horton-Tucker for Ben Simmons, but then also the Lakers would probably throw in a pick because fucking no one wants Russell Westbrook right now, just because he's a turnover and brick machine. I mean, fucking hell. And I've found myself yelling at the TV watching Lakers games this year just because that motherfucker. But hey, I mean, he gets triple doubles, so that's great. But this is probably my least favorite deal for both teams because I like Taylor Horton-Tucker as a Lakers fan, and that would be kind of not very good for the 76ers. I don't really think they need an extra 10 turnovers per night from Russell Westbrook, so this is the least likely in my eyes to happen. And then the Portland trade is probably the most likely, but at the same time, it would be for the shortest amount of time because there's only two players in Portland anyone would want to trade for, and that's CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard, and I fucking doubt that Portland's going to let Damian Lillard go short of a Joel Embiid for Damian Lillard trade, which I know sounds fucking insane, but the thing is, it's Dame Dollar, dude. And I feel like if they trade for CJ McCollum for Ben Simmons, then they could actually, like, if CJ McCollum actually steps out of Dame's shadow for once, you might actually be able to put together a really good season. You never really fucking know. But for being honest, there's really only one reason that Ben Simmons is even in trade talks right now. And, besides him asking for a trade, the 76ers want a clear cap for James Harden. And that's very understandable. I could even see a possible midseason trade for James Harden, but that's a little bit of a stretch, because the Nets are just starting to get their chemistry back together, and they're actually kind of looking a little bit deadly now. And, I mean, I'm not looking forward to facing them tomorrow, but hey, that'll happen. And James Harden has been kind of having a subpar season for his, metrics, and he's only been averaging 22 points per game, which is the lowest he's ever averaged ever since he left OKC. So, that's something to ponder. And, I mean, he might split if the Nets get bounced earlier than the finals, or if the Nets just straight up don't win shit this year, which, it is a possibility with, Giannis and, I mean, if the 76ers could get a good piece, but I don't fucking know yet again. But, I mean, I think Harden and Embiid has the most potential for actually turning into something that, has some impact on NBA history. So, let me know what you think in the comments. And if you want to tell me that I'm a fucking asshole, if I'm fucking stupid, whatever, I will argue with you in the comments. So, go ahead, leave a like on the fucking video, and go fuck yourself.